the way they built this house actually has a major problem. I haven't run into a house yet that has square walls. Love working on these old homes. These are my bread and butter. I gotta say, this floor is awfully comfortable. Wow. Wow, that's actually a rain cloud.
We had all this space?
The whole ground is heaving. Perfect, every time. Welcome back. We have a really awesome project this month. We're doing a basement renovation from scratch in a 3-year-old home. So you would think that being a 3-year-old home, we should have no problems, just show up, build it, and go to finish. But the reality is that building materials and techniques are changing so fast nowadays, and the code is changing so fast that the way they built this house actually has a major problem. So we're gonna explore that real quick, just so that people can get an idea of what can go wrong, even using new construction techniques and materials. So what you're looking at here is the exterior foundation wall of this basement. And it's unique in the fact that this is a walkout basement, so the sides are all sloped down, which is why the foundation's been stepped in poured concrete in this manner. And you can see how they built out in front with some 2x4s and some ridge plate. And this is all pretty well and good on the surface, you know, Super 6 poly, they've got the acoustic seal. What could go wrong here, right? So here's the problem. This concrete, when it's poured, has got a lot of moisture and it has to be released while it's curing. And so what happened in this house is that they wrapped this concrete in a Typar paper, and then because upstairs is 2x6 construction on the outside wall, in our area, our building code is R22 insulation. So in our building code, the basement has to be insulated to the same degree as the upstairs. So they have to get 22 R value in this wall. Now traditionally that's a 2x6 construction, but here they saved a few dollars. 100 sticks, about $1.50 each. So they saved $300, and what they did is they put 2 layers of R12 insulation in, so they got more insulation value at a cheaper price. But what it did is it compressed up against this insulation wrap. So now they've lost the airspace. Unfortunately, our building code doesn't have airspace in it. So what happened is all of the moisture that came off this concrete got trapped between the concrete and this paper. And then there's a vapor barrier over here, so it had nowhere to go. Everything is sealed up tighter than a drum, so all that water sat in the insulation. And so as a result, you've got R24 soaking wet, and we all know that if you jump in a pool with your clothes on, you get wet. What we're gonna do on this project now is our original scope of work was really simple. We were just gonna construct some 2x4 boxes, finish this wall to the ceiling, because really, how do you use that space properly unless you collect plates or something? So what we have to do now is we've got a spray foam company coming in next week. They're gonna spray foam all the walls. So our project has changed now. We're doing a bit of a stage. So we're gonna put in our subfloor, build our walls, and then we're gonna call the electrician in. And once everything is run and wired and boxed, then the spray foam can come, and then we're back to where we started closing up. So the process we're gonna use here is really simple. We're gonna put down a subfloor system that gives you an air barrier, a moisture barrier, and then something that's wood that you can build your frame on, so you don't have to attach everything to concrete. And that's because most of this area is gonna be done with a laminate finish. It's gonna be a really nice laminate finish. But some of the other areas, we're gonna be doing all tile. The hallway, the back area here, we're gonna have a bathroom. So that area there, we're gonna frame a little differently. So we're gonna show you contrasting techniques, and then you can decide which one's right for your job. So a lot of us in the building industry, we've come across this dimpled plastic before. It's called Platon, but the reality is it's not the product name. That's just a product brand name. So this is actually DMX, and this is available at my local building store. I picked it up. I usually use this for my subfloors underneath a 5/8 tongue and groove OSB plywood, and we can screw that to the floor with Tapcon screws. And that's my traditional basement system. I need to make my life easier so I don't have so much cut-offs and waste. Right there. there's a lot of different opinions in the world today about what is the right way to build something. But the truth is there isn't just one right way. I believe in this. I believe there's a 10-year, a 20-year, and a 40-year building technique. Now, where I'm from, here in Canada, we generally have a building code that promotes responsible building. I wouldn't say perfect. So you have a house that has a great foundation. We love to do good insulation and protect our resources from energy loss. But where we fail is making sure that all of our interior finishes are well thought through to keep them from deteriorating over time, especially in the bathrooms. Now here in this basement, we have the same kind of scenario. The way that they've made this basement, we had deterioration right out of the get-go. 3-year-old home, we've got rotting and molding plates. It's been sealed up too tight. So the way I like to approach it is this. If you're doing a repair or an upgrade in your house and you're on a budget, you can do a 10-year. That's still a good way to build. New home construction makes a bathroom that lasts 5 to 10 years. That's all you're going to get. If you're building something that's going to last and you're staying in your home for a while, you can do 20-year, and that covers the life of your mortgage. Or if it's a forever home or something you're going to give down to inheritance to your kids, build a 40-year. And so what we're going to do on our channel, we'll show you 10, 20, and 40-year techniques and let you decide what's best for you. Hold it flush. You buy this hammer with this claw, and if your wood is twisted, you can sit on the wood and you can manipulate the wood even if you're working alone. So all we got to do is we know our top plate's going to go level off of this because that's where the laser line is hitting. Right? Sweet. And then we're going to set the self-tapping screw right into the steel. Done. We got a wall. There's a furnace switch. Now that we're going to be putting a door up, this furnace switch has to be relocated inside the furnace room. I'm not going to do that today, but we are going to get this out of our way temporarily so that we can frame our corner here properly. We're going to build this wall right in front of the steel. We're going to go with the top and bottom plate. We'll cut a little bit out for the door after we're done. This will be our header. And we're just stick framing this in because it's easier at this point. Keep this bad boy from moving around on us. Now it's not going anywhere. So what we did is we have a 34-inch gap, plus the jacks is 3-inch, makes a 37-inch header. So if we've got the bottom level and square and we just put the jack in place, that should be on our laser mark. Bam, perfect. Hello. So in our basement, we have a 3-piece bath as part of the contract. So we have a bathroom, a spare room, probably gonna be used as an office, and then the living area. The bathroom, it's interesting, it's already got a rough end done, right? So we've got our vent stack, but what we have is a drain for a shower, 3-inch for a toilet, and then a vent stack that all this is obviously tied to, we assume, and then a 1.5-inch drain for the sink. The challenge here is that the original scope, the builder had this roughed in for a 5-foot by 7-foot traditional bathroom, which is really tiny. So in a 5-foot by 7-foot, this plumbing is in the wrong spot. These locations would fail in inspection if the contract was to finish the bathroom, but since they were only prepping the bathroom, there's no code for this, so I have garbage to work with. So you have two choices. You can open the floor, rerun all your plumbing, or you can design the bathroom around what you have. And that decreases the scope of work, saves you a ton of money. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put in a 30 by 60 shower, and we're gonna set up our back wall so that this drain will pick up our shower. We're going to put the toilet here. We're not gonna use this for our vent. For our drain for our sink. Instead, we're going to shorten the room and make it wider. So we're going to go with more like an 8 by 7, and that'll give us a little bit more space in the hallway. We had tons of room towards the office to steal from. So we just decided to move our wall over here, bring our vanity onto this side. We're going to build a box around this, maybe with some open shelving, and the bathroom will function fabulous, and we'll save ourselves a ton of time with opening the floor and running new plumbing. We don't have to get the inspectors in to resubmit the rough in. And so it's a win-win. We're gonna have a bigger bathroom with more space, less work, less scope of work. I love it. All right. Well, here we are back at the basement job. Second week of production. The walls are closed up on the exterior where we had the spray foam applied, which is kind of interesting. Remember, we had this water problem, so we decided to go with a spray foam to solve that. In Canada here, there was a fire recently, and so the clients were really quite concerned because the spray foam is supposed to be covered with drywall. And so someone they knew had a fire at their house, and they sent me a message that said, can you come quick, close up the walls so we can sleep tonight, knowing that our spray foam isn't gonna kill us in our sleep. So we did backwards in this job, all right? So we put up the walls and covered all our spray foam before we did the ceiling, which is traditionally backwards from what you like to do. This right here is gonna be the solution to our problem. This is an inside corner bead. And the idea is, when you put the ceiling on second, you have a gap, you fill it with mud, you're gonna install this metal corner bead to close up the gap so you're not gonna get gaps cracking on over time. It's better than paper in that scenario because it's reinforced a little bit of steel. And that's what we're gonna have to do on all these walls where we put the walls up first. So really cool, this corner here, originally we were just gonna be closing it off. No big deal, we'd have to have access to the clean out over here, and that was the only thing on the list. But once you start defining the space of a room, people's imaginations start to go a little bit crazy. And I had made a suggestion, what about the idea of possibly bringing a water supply line or something over to this corner in case in the future you wanted to do like a wet bar. Seemed like a pretty natural idea. You're near the outside, they're gonna have a hot tub. This is gonna be an adult lounge area type kind of thing. And so they were mulling that thought over, and then as soon as the space was defined, they're like, oh, we love the idea, let's do the bar. Once you get a certain point in construction, there's no more surprises. All you're doing is moving forward. So once they had the foundation and the insulation issue dealt with, now we're moving forward. They can look a hard look at their budget. They knew all of their expenses and costs, so they said, let's do the bar. Give us a quick idea. So we came up with a budget that's really reasonable. We're gonna get a cabinet over here with a functioning sink. So we have drain and water supply brought down. I have 2 electrical feeds here. We're gonna run that along a side panel, bring that out into this space in front of this corner. So we're gonna have a cabinet, and we're gonna do a really cool live edge, solid plank, part of a tree planked down as a countertop here. And that'll be about it. A little lighting in the ceiling. So we'll have wet bar, kind of a cool countertop, not much in the way of carpentry, just a couple small cabinets and a bar fridge, but it's gonna be a fabulous area so that they can entertain, throw a couple stools here. We'll call it a bar. All right, so in regards to the ductwork, I just wanted to point out real quickly, this is an existing run, and what they had here before was one of these old ceiling grills, and they had a couple of metal bars. You probably have it in your basement if you're looking at an unfinished room. So they have a like a big 4x10 boot and then a grill on it. So what we do is remove that junk because I hate having metal grills with screws in my ceilings. So what we've done is we add a 5-inch 90-degree piece of pipe, and we have this hanging just a little bit lower than our strapping. The idea being when we install the drywall on the ceiling, we can cut the hole, and then when we're finished, we can put in a diffuser. Now, diffuser's fancy. It's a big plastic cap with a layer on it that you can actually close up or you can open up with a simple twist of the finger. I prefer this kind of thing in a basement because, you know, you want to have a lot more control over your heat and air conditioning in the basement different times of the year. And then all we do is we put some shims, set this height, a little bit of all-round strapping, screw it down so that when we're putting our diffuser in, there's resistance. All right? This will make sure that we have a nice tight fit and it's not going to be sitting there with a big gap and causing you issues. That's just a really nice way to finish off a ceiling. So early on in the process, we were talking with a client. We weren't sure if they were going to end up with a TV on that wall over there against the bedroom or on this wall over here. And so originally we were going to supply hydro and run some cable just for both options. Thank goodness they came to a conclusion earlier in the phase. So this is definitely going to be TV wall. And the idea is they're thinking of going with a really large projection screen. So we have a bulkhead that's going to be running down the whole length of this room in our original design. And as you can see, if that bulkhead comes into this wall here, that interrupts the projection screen. So what we are going to do is bring our bulkhead to this point, we'll bring it back, and then finish off down here. Generally don't like to make bulkheads like that, but in this case, I want to leave uninstructed viewing area. We're going to go with at least 7 or 8 feet by 4 feet tall so that they can let their imagination go crazy when they're picking out their viewing projector. All right, so you can see that we've got all of our spaces defined here real well. The bathroom in the back there's a couple more mechanical things we want to take care of, running the waters for the shower, putting in the shower pan. That's all arriving today later on. This is going to be the office area here, and this is the 2x6 wall for running our mechanical. This is where the heat run's going to go in. And really, after today, we're going to have all our mechanical finished. Not bad, 2 weeks in, and we're going to be hanging the drywall on the ceiling. Another day or so, we'll be all closed up and ready to tape. The reason I'm showing you this technique is because a lot of people don't have the proper cutting tools for bringing in ductwork, and I get that. So this works really great. All you have to do is remove the plastic gasket that exposes the adhesive. You don't need a second pair of hands holding that in place. There we go. As you go around the outside of the pipe, crimping the pipe. All right, here we go. We'll get that piece in, ba-boom. All right, done. So today we're gonna be installing the new Renovation Pro line. Out of flame. We want to heat the copper to the point where we heat the copper and the brass. When the brass is hot enough over here that the solder melts, oh, there it goes. So when I'm doing a job like this, I like to think ahead of myself, and I set up, I know I have my water lines coming down. My center line is going to be here. It's really tight to bring a water line down and join it over. So I'm going to drill a hole, bring the water from this side. So once we got the crimper on position, we'll turn the fitting and then squeeze. Give ourselves that 1/4 inch. Okay, and crimp. I'm going to install this supply line. So this isn't just a simple shower valve. So it's not a valve with a shower head. What we're putting on here is an adjustable slide bar. Now, using this testing gauge might seem a little monotonous, but this is a great way to find out if you missed locking one of your joints. Now all that's left to do is to pressurize the lines, make sure it's not dripping, and we can complete our wall installation and our tiling, and then we'll come back and put the trims on at the end of the day. So here we are, we're using the DeWALT laser to connect the dots. What I've done is I've measured off my steel beam. The same measurement here and the other end of the room. My 2x4 will be here, and then my bulkhead will be about here. What I'm using is I'm using a 2x4. Now, one of the benefits of working in these new homes, so you can see that the floor joist package is actually, it's an engineered lumber. So again, it's like an aspenite capped with 2x3s, lots of adhesive. And when they put those packages down from steel to an exterior wall, it is really flat. We don't have a lot of movement on there like it's a traditional house that's all done in wood because the crown is up and down and all over the place. Here is nice and flat, so we really have an advantage. You'll see, here's my laser line, right on the edge of my wood. And so I'm going to just get this screw in first. Here we go. So now I don't have to connect my dots with my lumber because my plywood is going to be doing that for me. So I just want to get this on my laser line mark. So once you got all your plywood screwed on, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be just screwing this wood to the bottom edge of the plywood, okay, with the screws all down the run. And then we have a mounting surface for our track. Now, we're just using a metal track. It's got a shape to it, so it'll carry a lot of weight. Run it across to the other side of the room, and then we have something to screw a drywall to. But that is the basics of how to build a bulkhead. Okay, so we are in the basement bathroom now. We've got a drop ceiling going on, and our client bought this house 3 years ago and knew that they were going to convert a bathroom down here. So in their scope of work for the builder, they had them add a exhaust vent in the foundation wall. So we're going to be installing today is the New Tone. It's a replacement fan, but you can use it in new construction just as well. So the idea here is you want to leave enough room for your exhaust to turn the corner. I'm going to run my first sheet of drywall up to this point, right? And then I'll be able to tighten these screws right down onto that drywall joint, and that'll be perfect. The goal here is to try to have as straight a run as possible. Right? Sometimes it's helpful to have a shorter bit. So today we're going to take the time to teach you everything you need to know about installing drywall. So we have a window here. I'm just going to cut the majority of this window out and demonstrate how this tool operates. It has a nasty screeching sound, so people who don't like that nails on the chalkboard might bother you. When you're working alone, the whole trick is this. Carry your sheet white facing the lift and set it in. So we just crank it up. Throw a couple of screws in the middle of the sheet. If you are working alone and you have to drywall your ceiling, this is a great trick. Usually about 3 or 4 on each side of the sheet. That's enough to hold it in place. The freaky thing here is the outside wall and this wall were pre-existing from the builder. Would this be the first square room of my life? Nope. All right. And then push the tip into the paper. And then with your left hand sliding across the drywall, pulling with the right hand, mark the whole sheet together at the same time. Give it a little bit of a pop. Very, very fonts from Happy Days. Make a big X on the back of your drywall. And punch it through. Put it right into the corner. Okay, you get to drive the ship. All right, and now I just close it like a door. Never want drywall in contact with your concrete. It'll pull the moisture out of the concrete into the wallboard, guaranteed to feed the mold that's naturally occurring in the wood, and your baseboards are gonna go black. For the basics, we have a slow speed drill. Now this is something that I would recommend if you're gonna mix the whole box at a time. That's a perfect finish coat. When that's dry, you can sand that with relative ease, and if you have a nice clean application, you hardly have to sand it at all. Before we get started taping, we want to fill our gaps. Now this is my 45-minute mud. It's not silky smooth, it's a little thick, and I don't need one of those little pans to hold on to it. Hawks are awesome. So basically what we're doing is we're just gonna slap some mud up here by the ceiling gap, okay? You don't have a lot of time here, so put our knife here. We're gonna hold it on a bit of an angle, like 22 degrees. So generally speaking, I like to use paper tape only. I will keep fiberglass tape on hand for such an occasion as this. Off the side of the knife. Remember, speed is very important here. Now in the corner bead, there's the metal corner. This is the short side, it's 3/8. This one is almost 5/8. The wide metal goes over the exposed drywall. Okay, folks? We have a gap to fill so that we don't have to bring the mud up and around to finish. On day 2, I like to put all my metal corner beads on. And I'm just using the side of my trowel and loading it on, okay? I'm just setting my knife about 3 inches from the inside corner there. I don't want to take out any mud that's not necessary. Come out this way, ease off on the pressure. Okay, so here we go. Just want to keep my hawk nice and clean. I don't want to have the mud on the outside of it, because it'll start to dry even while it's sitting here. We're just going to have this thinner mud that we made for the final coat. Now when that's dry, you'll be able to sand that just by passing the block, and it's done. You don't have to fight with it. You don't need a huge dust cloud. You don't have to wear it. I have seen people sanding drywall and you should be wearing a hazmat suit. This is a toxic material. One thing you need to know in a basement, whether it's in the wintertime or summertime, your HVAC system is operating. So we need to control the dust. So we don't have a whole lot of sanding to do. So really all we gotta do is get our pad on there, and we're not trying to remove all of the mud, we're just trying to remove the ridge. You see just a little bit of dust? Just a couple of passes, and you'll see that it's feathered in. So now you can see we got our room sanded, we've got our Our dust-free system has been removed. We want to start with the ceiling, give it a nice liberal coat, push it in. This is not about having a thick coat. The primer's got a lot of solids in it, so a good primer is not wet. You're going to want to do 2 coats. But before you do your coats, you want to do your cut-in. The way you cut is you fill the brush with paint by pushing it into the paint, filling the inside. You clean this off so there's no paint sitting on the outside of the brush. It's all inside the brush. Always paint from the inside. So if my finished coat is going to go this way, my first coat has to come this way. So what we're going to do is we're going to just put it on. We're not going to worry about trying to stretch it out too much. When it's time to paint your bulkheads, if your roller is full of paint like this, you're going to have 10 times the amount of paint that you need, okay? So what I would suggest is you roll out a piece of the ceiling, dry off your roller a little bit, then you come back, all right? Cage down so you don't hit your ceiling, and then gently, not too much strength here, gently roll that out. Now you can paint like a pro. Welcome back to the basement job. We are taking a look at finishing all the flooring that's not getting laminate and it's not on a subfloor system. So because we have our subfloor system that you've probably seen previously, what we're doing here is we are recreating the same tile floor that's upstairs and we're bringing it down here so that we have a nice constant flow through the house. So what I did is I used the Eco Prime grip and then I've used the Protega underlayment. This is an uncoupling membrane. This is not a Dietrich product, this is red, not orange, so don't have to adjust the color on your screen. Okay, so here's our pattern. This is an 8-inch offset, but this isn't a brick pattern. It doesn't keep stepping down away, it comes back again. So what we end up with is 2 grout lines and then 2 grout lines with a larger space in the middle. When you're installing this way, or on a 2-day tile install, I'll almost always just go for the square footage on the first day. And we're going to place this down on my line. About there. They're a clip. Basically, it's the same science as all the clip systems. They break off. You put them underneath the tile. You can see this works pretty quick. Welcome back. This is Jeff from Auto Design and Build. Yes, it's me. I look a little worse for wear today. So playing basketball with Nate, my son from the deck videos. We had a little head-to-head collision and I got the worst of it. He's absolutely fine. Anyway, the boys are in here working. We're gonna check in and see what they're up to and make sure that they're still working. Oh, sounds like they're working. Let's go see what he's up to. Hey guys.
Yo.
Hey.
Hello.
Oh no, go ahead.
Okay.
Show us what you're up to, Nate.
Yeah, sure. So basically I put a little piece of tape right here. Make sure the tape is a little longer than the screw. When you're trying to drill your subfloor into concrete, you want to make sure that this hole is bigger than your screw. That way the head's not protruding through. I just drilled one here right now. And it's all the way through that piece of plywood. And there's no like little dents coming out, so we should be okay with the plywood.
Cool, so we're almost ready to start laying the flooring in this room then?
Yeah, basically, I've got 2 more holes to go and then we're on our way.
Dude, awesome. Beautiful. All right. Matt, how's it going in here?
Going well. We're just cleaning out the grout cracks with this little tool here, so that when you put your grout in, it doesn't show in the end. You don't get miscoloration and everything in the grout cracks. So pretty much you just, it's just a little triangle tool. You toss it in there and just like scratch it back and forth to get little pieces of grout out. And yeah.
Beautiful. So once we get this washed up, we're ready to grout?
For sure, yeah.
Cool. And we got the Ultra Color Plus here today. Beautiful. This product is amazing, Max. This product here is, it's good for sanded or unsanded applications. So it fills really small gaps, up to 1/2 inch thick, which is crazy. It also quick dries, has polymer in it, has a sealer in it. So anything you want out of your grout to do, this does for you. And it's my miracle grout. The only thing is he's got to move real fast with the washing or it's hard to get off. Other than that, the bathroom's almost done. So we got the vanity in, the custom open cabinets there. So once we're done grouting, it's on to paint and finish trim. Another week, we should be done and out of here. I'm gonna show you some tips and tricks on doing finished carpentry. See that there's a little bit of meat left, but now you know exactly where that blade's gonna cut. Perfect. That is beautiful. Don't press too hard. It's gonna make a dent when the nail goes through, but if you press too hard, even the guide here is gonna put a hole in the wood. End up filling 2 holes instead of 1. We've got something that looks like wide plank board flooring. Basically, we just roll it out and cut it to fill the space. So cut your board in advance, no need to measure. And just like any other kind of flooring, you want to pay attention to your Hing, which is where your joints are made of. The benefit of this tongue and groove action is that it actually locks from both different directions. I'm talking about installing crown molding. So the material we're using today is a finger joint pine, pre-painted, very simple line. It's not colonial, it's very modern. Cha-ching. I like to put some caulking. We just want to make sure that we're going to get this corner here rolled roughly in the right direction here. Okay. Today we are installing a custom glass sliding door system for a 5-foot shower. Alrighty, here we go.
That is some tough tile.
You end up with is something that's carrying weight in 3 points. Twist, done. And done. And we're just cutting flush. We go to install and put our wax ring there, straddle this whole situation. I can now carry the weight on my elbows and I can hover over the toilet and visually make sure that I'm getting that bolt in each one of those holes and then just follow that down. And now I want to put the same kind of pressure on the whole toilet surface the entire time I'm pressing down. Basically, this is similar to drywall. You want less pressure but lots of movement, okay? I mean, you are only cutting brass here after. So the alternate method is pull out your grinder with your cutoff wheel. This works great too, and it works in a jiffy. So, safety first, but who says you can't be cool while you're safe? Oh yeah! Set it in place. Set it in place. Go backwards until you feel it grab the thread and go forwards. Set it in place. Ta-da! Remember that 3/8 is the typical water supply for toilets and faucets, where 1/4 inch is the water supply for a fridge line. You don't want to get the wrong one. This particular toilets are low flow, and they go down to 1.1 gallon per flush, which is almost nothing. Love me some water conservation. Set it in place. Right out of the factory to the water line. Gotta love it. Well, we are finished. And when I mean finished, I mean finally finished. What started off as a pretty straightforward project to finish a basement space kind of took on a life of its own as the clients started to see it unfold and expand their vision and came up with new ideas. So originally we had designs for just a small bar in the corner, and every time we took another step around the corner into the developing of this project, the bar grew and grew and grew, and we had to get designers involved and change our expectations. We added these awesome elements, and now what we have is something that is absolutely spectacular. This is a real showstopper here. So we have a live edge countertop, we have our quartz countertop. Believe it or not, all of these cabinets are from IKEA, so shout out to them, thanks for that. They actually function really well in this space, and we were able to modify and do all of our creative products with it. So that worked out well. Loving the bar top. This is an 8-foot by 8-foot bar now. Sits in the middle of the space, so hopefully this will be big enough to satisfy all of their entertaining needs. But as you can see behind us, the lighting in here is brilliant. It's not even very sunny today, but this is a main floor kind of environment, even though it's a basement, because it is a walkout. And because of that, it deserved a little bit extra attention, a little bit more detail, some really quality finishing. And so what we've done is replicated everything from upstairs and brought it downstairs. We have the sills on the windows and the nice thick trim, very, very modern look. So we're really pleased. You can tell as you walk around, the flooring is actually awesome. This is a Torlease floor. This is a laminate floor product, but it is really high quality. Incredibly durable, has a great texture, fits nice and tight together. And so if you're looking for a floor for your house, I would suggest this. This stuff is amazing. Of course, the double doors are in, and the bulkheads are all finished, and the space is huge, wide open. And even though it's a basement with the drop ceiling feature, it doesn't feel like a cramped space. You have nothing but room here. So I'm really pleased. I know the clients are happy. I know the crew's happy to be done. And I know Max is happy that we're filming this. So one of the things about this bar that we love is the fact that we have so much space between the wall and the cabinetry. When you're designing a space like this, it's not enough to just squeeze it into a wall. You want to make sure that your features function properly. You got lots of room. All right, this is a big enough bar. There could be more than one person back here, so you definitely need the space. And remember, when you're doing a project like this, the last thing you do is you always make sure you shove a bottle of champagne in the fridge for your clients. Little surprise. So as we're leaving the main room and heading into the hallway, and by the way, really loved how the tile floor turned out. Again, hats off to the Pail tile leveling system for helping us with that. Really important to note here, in a basement, you really need to make sure you have nice wide hallways, open foyer concept. So we changed the design from the original plan that had bigger bathroom and bigger spare room, and made wider hallways. So when you come down into this level, this is not a basement feel, this is just a different level, and it is awesome. So now we're gonna head on into the bathroom, we're gonna show you how we finish that off. So one of the things we changed in the original redesign of this bathroom, it was a typical 5x7. So it would have been shower, tub, vanity, door, a little bit of walkway, and that takes up about 35 square feet. So what we did is we changed the design and we went with a 6x7 and made it more rectangular. So when you do that, you end up with the door in the middle, opening into an area that seems a lot bigger, and you're not so cramped. I hate those 5x7 bathrooms. And so what we did is by changing that, we actually made the hallway a foot bigger and stretched the bathroom this way and took over a little bit more of the storage area, which wasn't really necessary because I had tons of space available there. This way, this bathroom, although it's still tiny, it feels rather large, you're not claustrophobic, and there's room for a couple of different design features. You can put accents and different things in the room, and you're not gonna feel cluttered. We have a simple little vanity here, a built-in storage shelving unit. It may function as a guest bathroom, so that way they can load it up with towels, not have to worry about things. And then the shower is basically, it's a 5 by 30 inch sliding door kit with the overhead shower rail. This is really nice, works out fantastic. Simple tile wall, and again, we're using our ProFlow system in the bathroom shower wall. This is one valve, and it only has one control, but we put it on the adjustable slide bar. So no matter who you are, this is real easy to function. It's just thumb control, and then you can remove the wand and then wash the shower down. This is about as basic as it gets, but it's very elegant and very stylish. Now remember, when you're designing a space like a basement and you have low ceilings, the secret is lights. Lighting, 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 lighting everywhere, okay? That is the key. So the LED pot light is a brilliant way to do it, because these are installation afterwards. You can link extra ones into the system after the fact if you need it. Once you start with an LED light, you can add 15 or 20 on the same run, because they don't use a lot of power and they don't generate heat. So, like for instance, in this area here, this is basically just a hallway. And it's been widened out, and we have a nice 36-inch door going to the storage area, so it'll facilitate storing anything, moving in and out without damaging things over time. But up in the ceiling, we had a similar situation. If you remember that old Victorian kitchen that we did, we had heat run city going on in this area. So this is just off the furnace, and we had to hide that, we had to hide this, we had to hide something over here. So we ended up just creating this whole box ceiling effect with 2-tier and doing the crown molding, put in a couple of pot lights, and so now, instead of just a bunch of boxes in the basement without any purpose and they look kind of in the way, we've created this ceiling effect where this looks like a design ceiling that's done on purpose to create this effect of height. And I think it's beautiful. It's a great way to solve the problem. Well, thanks for joining us today. And if you'd like to see the projects that we're doing in the future, hit the subscribe button so you get notified every time we have a new video. Or check out the link over here and you can check out some of our past projects. While you're making that decision, I gotta find a new color.